Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be doing another episode of Blake's Bets, the show where I try to predict every single game that is playing in the NFL this weekend. This weekend looks like it's going to be a very exciting week. We have the first round of buys, so there's going to be 4 teams that aren't playing. I don't know what all teams there are, but I'm pretty sure the Bears aren't playing. Pretty sure the Steelers aren't playing, and I'm pretty sure Atlanta Falcons aren't playing. So I'm missing one. I don't know who it is. But that being said, we're going to be diving straight into this. I do want to go ahead and start off with last week, my predictions. I actually only got 4 wrong and 12 right, which is pretty good. So my overall score for the year, we got ourselves 45 correct and 19 wrong. And so literally like excluding week 3, which was very unpredictable, and I got an insane amount wrong, I'm actually doing relatively good. I feel like I'm doing a relatively solid job. And now we got 14 games to guess this week. I didn't fail my lock last week, so I don't have any punishment or anything. So let's just dive straight into this, shall we? Okay, starting off with Thursday night football. This one is a little interesting. Thursday night football games tend to be really bad, and as the season goes on, they tend to get worse and worse. And I feel like this week's is going to be a really good example of that because there are so many people who play for the 49ers who are going to be injured and out during this game. So typically, I would say the 49ers would have a really good chance for this, but because the Rams have more healthy players and Puka Nacua has been doing incredible so far this year, I'm going to go ahead and say I think the LA Rams are going to win this Thursday night matchup. Okay, and starting off our Sunday games, we got the Vikings versus the Browns. I think that the Cleveland Browns are starting another quarterback. This is officially like the 41st quarterback that they've started since like 2000. That is absolutely insane. They're averaging a new quarterback every 10 games, and they got AJ Dillon, who I know absolutely nothing about, except for I think he's the guy who, like, in an interview was just like, why do we always play football games during the winter months? Why are we playing in the snow? We should always play when it's like 80 degrees out and sunny. And I think that that's kind of funny. So obviously, going into the winter months, having him as their starter going to be great for the Browns. I'm going to go in and say I think that the Vikings are going to win. I haven't been following up with JJ McCarthy the last couple of weeks, but I know he didn't have a very good start to the season. But I do think that he's going to definitely do better than the Cleveland Browns because they are the Cleveland Browns. Then the next games, we have the Cowboys versus the Jets. The Jets really let me down last week. I was expecting them to do a little bit better against the Miami Dolphins. I feel like that's just kind of been like the story of their season so far. The New York Jets have had like a couple of sparks of greatness. Garrett Wilson has had some pretty solid games, but overall they haven't got a whole lot done. And going against the Dallas Cowboys, who just put up 40 points against one of the better teams in the league, I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to come away with a W on this one. Next up, we got the Giants versus the Saints. The Giants somehow beat the LA Chargers, which I was absolutely shocked about. They did, however, lose one of their star wide receivers. Malik Neighbors is going to be out for the season now. So that's a little interesting. That being said, I think the New Orleans Saints still absolutely suck. So I can confidently give this win to the Giants. The next game, we got the Raiders versus the Colts. The Colts were unable to come away with a win last week, but that being said, Daniel Jones has still had a pretty good hot streak going this year. I think that the Raiders are not doing entirely good, despite the fact that Austin Gentry, is that his first name? I don't remember his first name. A. Gentry, their running back, had a phenomenal week last week, and he finally decided to show up and start showing out. So if you could have another great week, that'd be really freaking awesome. I think that the Raiders stand a little bit of a chance with him kind of, playing well. But that being said, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Colts are definitely going to win this round. Ah. Next up, we have the Dolphins versus the Panthers. These are two teams that both relatively suck playing against each other. I think that the Panthers are going to put up a very good fight, but I think ultimately the Miami Dolphins are going to walk away with a W for this game. Next up, we got the Broncos versus the Eagles. This is going to be my upset for the week. I love the Eagles, but I think that their offensive style is so boring and so painful to watch, and I really just want to watch them lose a game because, truth be told, Jalen Hurts keeps getting praised like he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. And last week he had like 8 throws in a row that were incompletions. And a lot of people are saying that like he's better. Like some people said that he did better than Baker Mayfield last week, which is just like blatantly incorrect. Like this guy has star wide receivers, and he's not even cracking 200 yards most games. He's not even really throwing for touchdowns. He's rushing in the majority of his touchdowns. And as somebody who has him on fantasy, he's not doing anything particularly impressive. So I kind of want to see the Eagles lose. And I think that the Broncos are a team that's been kind of a little white horse this year. I don't know if that's a term. Is that a term that actually exists? I don't know. But they've been doing relatively solid, and I think that they're going to continue to do great going into the season. And I would love it if they were the first team to beat the Eagles this year. Next up, we have the Texans versus the Ravens. The Ravens are now like 1-3, which is absolutely crazy to me. The Ravens, who have been phenomenal the last couple of years, have constantly been playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders, and all of a sudden they are having just the worst start to this year. Don't get me wrong, they did lose to two incredible teams, the Chiefs and the Bills, but them playing against the Texans have had a kind of rough start to the season as well. I do think that the Ravens should be able to walk away with the W here. I'm just a little concerned about that. Next up, we have the Titans and the Cardinals. I had mentioned last week when I was talking about the Titans game that I haven't watched them at all, and it's pretty hard to miss them this week when their starting quarterback is going out on a post-game interview and saying, "I'm going to keep it a buck with you. We're ass." That's kind of fucking hilarious, I'm not going to lie. So the Tennessee Titans, I don't see them doing particularly well. They're starting off 0-4, and I think they're going to end up 0-5 by the end of this week. Next up, we have the Buccaneers versus the Seattle Seahawks. I still am very confused about who's on the Seattle Seahawks, but I do think it's Sam Darnold for sure. I think Tyler Lockett potentially is still there, but I do think it's actually hilarious. So this game, both teams are going to be wearing alternative jerseys, and there was kind of a graphic that was put out about like, oh my god, this might be one of the best jerseys face-offs that we've had in a really long time. Like people talking about the different jerseys going against each other, and in the graphics they used for the Seattle Seahawks, they had Geno Smith in the graphic, they had DK Metcalf, and I think it's absolutely hilarious because obviously neither of them are still on those teams. So I thought that was really funny. But I do think that overall the Buccaneers are going to come out on top. Baker Mayfield is still playing absolutely fantastically. Chris Goodwin should be at 100% again. And I think that their running backs are doing relatively solid as well. Next up, we have the Lions versus the Bengals. This team is going to win by 10 plus points. I think that the Lions are absolutely going to dominate here. I think that they have been playing absolutely phenomenal this entire year. And I think that the Bengals backup quarterback, is it Jake Browning? I have no idea. Whatever the Jake, is it Jake? I'm like 90% confident it's Jake, but their backup quarterback is absolutely ass. So I'm going to have to give this win to the Lions without a doubt. Next up, we got the Commanders versus the Chargers. This is going to be my lock for this week. Jayden Daniels, I don't know if he's playing as of right now. He supposedly is going to be playing, but because of injuries, he keeps on not playing. Scary Terry is still going to be out this week. The Commanders did do a relatively solid job last week against the Atlanta Falcons without those two, but I think that this Chargers team, coming off of a loss against the Giants, they're going to be looking to do a little bit better. So I'm going to give this one to the Chargers. Next up, we got the Patriots versus the Bills, and I am a diehard Patriots fan, but I will say I don't think the Bills are a team we're going to magically be able to beat. I think Josh Allen is pretty much still an unstoppable force. He's having an incredible season, and I think that they're not going to lose their undefeated streak to the Patriots. I do think that the Patriots are going to do a little bit better, but I'm not expecting them to do so hot. And last up for our Monday night game, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, who are now 2-2, so good for them. They are no longer in a losing record, versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I'm a huge fan of. I live in North Florida. I'm a big fan of Duval. I'm liking seeing this team kind of making a name for themselves a little bit. They seem to be doing really, really well. This coach is doing a great job putting Trevor Lawrence in a scheme that he works a lot better in. And I actually think, and I don't know if this is an upset, but I'm going to consider this an upset. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are definitely going to beat the Chiefs. I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic game. And I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to just barely come out on top. Maybe like win by a field goal. It's going to be close, but I'm going to give it to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that being said, that's officially it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and checking it out. I love and appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, feel free to like, subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bow. Bow. Bow.